Good evening. I declare the annual electors meeting open at 6 p.m. Good evening, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting today is being held on Wajjagnunga Budja, and I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respects to elders past, present and future. I thank all past and present members of the community that have supported the city to better understand and value Noongar culture within the city of Wanneroo. I invite you to bow your head in prayer. Lord, we thank you for blessing our city, our community and our council. Guide us to act fairly, without fear or favour, and with compassion, integrity, wisdom and honesty. May we show true leadership, be inclusive of all, and guide all of the city's people and many families to a prosperous future that all may share. We ask this in your name. Amen. Please note that the audio-visual proceedings of tonight's meeting will be live broadcast online, with the exception of matters discussed behind closed doors. The broadcast of proceedings of the meeting can be accessed live and on demand through the City of Wanneroo YouTube channel. And CEO, you have an announcement.
Thank you, Mayor. I wasn't expecting this, so that's a nice surprise. In accordance with Regulation 15 of the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996, the regulations, the matters to be discussed at a general electors meeting are firstly the contents of the annual report for the previous financial year and then any other general business. Regulation 18 states that the procedure to be followed at a general or special meeting of electors is to be determined by the person presiding at the meeting. In accordance with clause 5.30 of the Local Government Act 1995, the Act, the Mayor is to preside at electors' meetings and has determined the procedure to be followed. The procedure has been published in the agenda for the meeting and copies are available for attendees. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. I will now read some of the procedure out loud for clarification for tonight's meeting process. In accordance with Regulation 15 of the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996, the regulations, the matters to be discussed at a general electors meeting are firstly the contents of the annual report for the previous financial year and then any other general business. Regulation 18 of the regulations states that the procedure to be followed at a general or special meeting of electors is to be determined by the presiding person at the meeting. In accordance with clause 530 of the Local Government Act 1995, the Act, the Mayor is to preside at electors meetings. All participants at electors meetings must be verified electors of the City of Wanneroo. Proposed motions must be provided in writing to administration by 12 noon on the day of the meeting. Forms were available from Council Support and were available on the City's website, Motion to Annual General Meeting, City of Wanneroo. An elector may only move or second a maximum of 5 motions. To clarify, an elector may move or second any motion, but the combined total of being either a mover or seconder is not to exceed 5 in entirety for the elector. Motions from the floor will only be accepted at the discretion of the presiding person. Only verified electors may address the electors meeting. Item 1, attendances. Verified electors as defined within the procedure who have been registered attendants have received a voting card. The number of total verified members tonight is... Just a minute, we'll work out the number of verified voters. Thank you. So the verified number of electors tonight is 24 in attendance. We've received requests for electronic attendance from Councillor Bedworth and I have approved this request. Councillor Bedworth, will you now make your declaration prior to participating in the confidential part of this meeting? Actually, I don't think you need to. He's not online? Okay, so we'll let him in when he can get here.
I just do a point of order, a clarification, please, Mayor.
Yep.
Just on the meeting procedures that we were having in our packs, on part 3, it clearly states that recording, live recording, it's going to be audio recorded only. Can I get a clarification if that is correct?
It is on YouTube as well.
It just points out under 12, line 12, no other audio or visual recording will be undertaken. It just says the elector meeting will be audio recorded only for the purposes of the meeting, the minutes.
So what I understand is it will be audio recorded for the purposes of the minutes. It's still being done on YouTube, but no other audio is to be done by anyone, or recording to be done by anyone else. Is that correct? Is that correct, Ms. Coles? So it's currently being live streamed. Thank you for that, Councillor Miles. The live stream will be cut and it'll just be recorded for the minutes. Thank you. Apologies and leave of absence. We have an apology from Councillor Moore, and I know Councillor Bedworth is on his way. So we now go to item 3, reports, the City of Wanneroo annual report. I'll be moving that and the Deputy Mayor will be seconding it. And I'll speak to item 3.1. Tonight I'd like to acknowledge the City of Wanneroo annual report for 24-25. This report tells the story of a city that is growing quickly, planning carefully and continuing to deliver for its community. Wanneroo is changing. Our population has now passed 243,000 residents, and with the forecast pointing to 339,000 by 2035, we are planning for the future of one of Western Australia's largest communities. As our city grows, our focus is on planning carefully and making sure services keep pace. Throughout the year, that work has been visible in the things people use every day. Parks that are cared for, roads that keep people moving, libraries that bring communities together, waste and recycling services, recreation programs and support for local businesses. We moved some major projects closer to the finish line, completing the Dordak Kepup Library and Youth Innovation Hub and continuing strong progress on the Alkimos Aquatic and Recreation Centre, on track to open this year. We also completed the Riverlinks Playground in Clarkson, a nationally significant inclusive facility featuring universal access amenities. It was a year of getting things done, with the city achieving 94% corporate business plan performance result, representing the strongest outcome for the past 4 years, and delivering more than $97 million in capital works across the city, the highest level of capital delivery on record. We also worked hard to bring investment to Wanneroo, securing funding commitments from state and federal governments worth more than $156 million, including $32 million in direct city funding for projects that support safety, access and community connection. There was also record community use of our facilities, with Kingsway Stadium recording a 33% increase in attendance and Aquamotion continuing its strong year-on-year growth. Library programs also saw a 22% increase in attendances, with digital loans also up 14.5%. We also invested back into our communities with 117 initiatives receiving community funding, engaging more than 40,000 participants. There were also 660 youth engagement sessions delivered across the city, reaching approximately 12,000 young people. Kids sport processing exceeded 1.1 million, enabling 4,310 children to participate in organised sport, with the city ranked the highest performing local government in WA for both voucher volume and value. The safety of our community is always front of mind, with the city's CCTV network expanded to 632 cameras and the CCTV rebate program supporting over $637,000 in private security installations. Another innovation in water safety for the city was the installation of AI drowning detection technology at Aquamotion, enhancing our real-time safety response capability. These are just a few of our many achievements. As we grow, sustainability continues to guide how we plan and invest, making sure we protect our natural environment while building a city that can stand the test of time. None of this happens in isolation. It reflects the dedication of our city staff and volunteers and the energy and involvement of residents, community groups and local businesses. This annual report shows a city that is not just growing, but growing with purpose and planning confidently for what comes next. Thank you to the staff who prepared this report and to everyone involved in the work it represents. I look forward to what comes next, and I ask everyone to support the annual report. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak to this item?
Yeah, just briefly, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of points. As I indicated in December, the annual report obviously reflects on where we've been, but it also targets where we're going as a council. Bearing in mind that this council and the team behind the council, the administration, is up for 40% of all housing in the metropolitan area is going to come out of the city of Wanneroo boundaries. So whether you're in the Two Rocks in the far north, to the new areas of East Wanneroo and the new towns and Carabooda, we're obviously planning for all of that work. We have to make sure under the law that we meet those challenges dictated by the Planning Commission and the state government, and we have been meeting all of those challenges. Whether it be the tree planting for us as a council and also for getting and making sure that the developers are also contributing to that section as well. Being a smart city is how we're going to be able to achieve some of these items. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Are there any speakers against the annual report? Mr. Kacob, would you like to come and take the podium and speak against? You push the button in front of you, Mr. Kacob. On the microphone itself. You've got it on now.
Is that on? Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Kykop, 1 Tandara Fairway in Taffy. Madam Mayor, I cannot vote for this. I've had problems in my area with failing infrastructure. We're in desperate need of infrastructure. Looking at what's been going on, I don't believe that we are allowing for maintenance in the city. We've got issues with our maintenance in our area of tapping. When I look at a lot of our older suburbs, excuse me, the maintenance is not being carried out either. I've been referred to a works program instead of a maintenance program, and I believe that we are having trouble in the field of maintenance. I've put questions or I've put correspondence to the councillors They, I do not believe, have had a reply from the administration as yet, because I certainly haven't, except for being referred to capital works programs. So therefore, I believe that we are having financial issues in some realms in this city, and I will speak to that in one of my motions coming up. But for those reasons, I cannot vote for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Kirkhope. Do I have a supporter for the annual report? Thank you, Councillor Rowe.
This gives me the opportunity to speak in support, Mayor, of the report that's before us. Yourself and the Deputy Mayor have already highlighted some relevant information about the projects that the City's undertaking. Just for the benefit of our electors who are here, when Council adopted this report unanimously last year, I highlighted several things that I think are of use to residents and ratepayers. In our agenda proper, from about page 47 onwards, you can see each of the councillor profiles. So that'll tell you, no matter which ward you're in across the city, the memberships and the committees and working groups that your elected members serve on. Because much of the decision making occurs in this chamber, however, a lot of the pre-work, the discussions, the deliberation, the hard work goes on in the committees and working groups. So you'll be able to see a complete list of groups that your elected members are part of. And in the interest of transparency, I'm very glad that this year, on page 66 of your agenda proper, there is a full, complete and comprehensive councillor attendance record that has been disclosed to the public, so you have the opportunity to see how often, how regularly your elected members are attending. Not just what's required under the Act, which is the ordinary council meetings and special council meetings, but all of the bodies and decision-making forums of council. So I hope that this is in the interest of transparency and that more ratepayers, now that this same information is being disclosed on the City's website and Facebook page, that members of the public will have a good understanding of which elected members are coming and participating in decision-making.
Thank you, Councillor Rowe. Any speakers against? If there are no speakers against, I'll take the right of reply. There was talk about our asset management. We have an extensive asset renewal program which is mentioned in our annual report, which thoroughly covers, and we've actually brought the requirement for our assets renewals, instead of being at 10-year, back to 7-year, and we have worked very, very 7-year requirement. We brought it right back. I think Mr Singh can talk to the asset renewal. Oh no, he can't, because I'm doing the right of reply. So we have improved, we've decreased the time frames at the percentage of what the use of the community centres are. We're working very hard on asset renewal, and within our budget we plan our asset renewal and we put money aside for our asset renewal. So there is no reason to doubt that we are not planning for the future, whether it's the suburbs of Girraween and Kandoola, who are very old, or whether it's the new suburbs in Yanchep, or happening in East Wanneroo or in Wanneroo. We are looking at the whole and we're representing very well. So on that, I ask you to cast your vote in support of the annual report. Thank you. And the annual report is passed with 20 supporting the annual report and 13 against the annual report. I will now present the motions received in writing to the electors meeting in the order they have been received by the city. Each proposed motion will be displayed on the public screen in the council chamber and be read aloud to ensure that everyone is clear about what they are voting on. There have been, how many proposed motions? No one's told me. 14 proposed motions at this stage. And the first proposed motion, yes, please admit Councillor Bedworth. So the proposed motion submitted by Mr B. Kirby and has been seconded by Robin Guy, and it states bollards be placed at the cul-de-sac of Menorah Court and Moree Lane to reduce the amount of traffic utilising Menorah Court as a thoroughfare. Mr Kirby, would you like to come if you're in the chamber to speak to this motion? Is Mr Guy here? Okay, that item has lapsed because the mover and seconder aren't here this evening. The second proposed motion was submitted by Mr A. Viney and seconded by Anna Weatherall. For the safety or horse riders and e-vehicle riders, ban e-vehicles from designated bridle paths and equine exercise area. Would the mover like to speak to this item, which is Adrienne Viney? Adrian, can you just mention the suburb you live in and your name just to confirm it for the record? Thank you.
Yes. Adrienne Viney, thank you for the correction to Liz. I live in Meridianup at the Lake Adams Bridle Path area. So for safety, I have serious safety concerns about the increased use of the Lake Adams Bridle Path area by e-scooters and e-bikes. For those who are not equine astute, the e-scooters and e-bikes are very frightening for horses. They spook quite severely at the use of these, or these being ridden around them. I have a horse, I ride on that area. I have been out on the bridle path and had an e-scooter come up behind me quite quickly. There are a lot of blind corners and areas where you don't have full visibility, so we can't move aside and let them pass. Sadly, most people, well, understandably, I guess, most people who are riding the e-scooters are very unaware of the impact they have on the horses. They don't slow down when we ask them to slow down through just waving hands and alerting them of the dangers, and they are causing quite concern for the users of that area.
Thank you. And would the seconder like to speak to this motion on notice? You're fine? Okay, do I have any speakers against this motion on notice? Councillor Berry.
I don't want to speak against. I want to know if the mover and seconder would be prepared to change the wording from e-vehicles to e-ridables, just so it's very clear that we're on about scooters and bikes.
Yes,
Are you happy with that?
Absolutely fine, yes.
So we'll change that to e-ridables. And there's no speakers against? There are no speakers against. We will go to the vote on this. Thank you. So everyone in support of it, please raise your blue tickets. And those who are against, please raise your pink tags. Okay, I declare it's probably carried. Okay, so that is passed. I now go to the motion submitted by Ms. Aya Martin or Ingrid Martin. Do you have a seconder, Ms. Martin? So you're the seconder, Mr. Kakop. So the proposed motion is A, approve the allocation each year in the annual budget, the minimum of sum of $1 million to be available to the City of Wanneroo Incorporated ratepayers groups as their legal fund, and B, approve the excess for but not limited to independent legal advice and representation when dealing with the City of Wanneroo's administration officers' projects which can impact on health, environment and well-being of the community now or in the future. Ms. Martin, would you come and speak to the item?
Okay. Hi, my name is Ingrid Martin and I live in Carramar. I've actually put some terms on this because, which I will read out, but I thought it would be part of my reasoning. So the funds of the $1 million will be set aside in the City of Wanneroo's annual budget for incorporated ratepayers' legal expenses incurred in opposing or seeking to modify or restrict City of Wanneroo projects. The funds will be allocated equally across the wards. Incorporated ratepayers groups are defined as a group of ratepayers in a defined suburb who have incorporated to ensure the City of Wanneroo protects the health, well-being and environment while advancing community inclusions as community and inclusions as stakeholders in the City of Wanneroo's future planning. All incorporated groups be notified of the budget item by mail and asked to nominate as an interested party annually within 30 days of the start of the financial year to have access to the fund in that year. Funds can only be used for legal advice or legal representation by an incorporated community ratepayer group to provide them with legal recourse when there is need to ensure that a social licence is included from the onset of the proposed plan by the City of Wanneroo officers, the CEO or the Council. Unused funds in any given year will be accumulated annually and a CPI increase applied in line with the CPI adjustment applied to city rates annually. At the end of each financial year, unused funds will be preserved in the Incorporated Ratepayers Group Legal Fund and held in reserve by the City of Wanneroo as funds for incorporating ratepayers to use for matters relating to proposed projects that have implications for community health, well-being and the environment. Incorporated ratepayers groups can pool their allocation if there is an agreement with one or more of the groups to seek legal recourse on a project. So I'd like to talk on this now. Repeatedly, the City of Wanneroo administration develop and fund projects.
Excuse me. I just want to advise you've only got about 40 seconds left to speak because you're allowed 3 minutes. Okay, so just if you could make it concise for the community. Thank you. No, the seconder will be allowed 3 minutes and then it'll be debated. So you've got 40 seconds left.
Repeatedly, the City of Wanneroo administration offers to develop and fund projects using ratepayers' money without community consultation, socializations, or at times proper council processes. Land is purchased, consultants engaged, and structure plans rezoned to process projects before community input is sought, creating a significant imbalance between the community and those responsible for protecting ratepayers' interests, including health and well-being. In my opinion, the City administration has failed on many projects over the years to consult with ratepayers, and as a result has caused irreparable damage to the trust that ratepayers have in the City's administration, the officers and the Council. The actions of the officers are the responsibility of the CEO. The very need for the ratepayers to seek allocation funds for legal advice and representation in the annual budget is an indication of how the City is failing the community.
Thank you. You've had your 3 minutes. Mr. Kaycock, would you like to come and speak to this motion on notice? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll carry on from where Ms Martin left off. It is in her opinion that the City of Wanneroo, sorry, it's in my opinion as well, that the City of Wanneroo administration has failed on many projects over the years to consult with the ratepayer, and as a result has caused irreparable damage to the trust that the ratepayers have in the City's administration, officers and council. This action of the officers are the responsibility of our CEO. It's time for a review to ensure...
Excuse me. According to the standing orders for this meeting, I will not have anyone directly spoken against, and you have just spoken against the CEO. You're not allowed to speak against a person or an individual within the room. Please keep that in mind. Thank you, Mr. Kaycock.
I shall retract that, Madam Mayor. I didn't realise that I was speaking in such a way. It's time for a review to ensure all projects are brought back under the framework that is cost-effective, transparent and with the guidelines of the officer's employment criteria. While Council is meant to safeguard the community, administration officers have the unrestricted access to legal advice funded by ratepayers, leaving volunteer ratepayer groups without equivalent support. These volunteers face limited time, poor communication from the City, inadequate notice of deadlines, online glitches and unreliable information delivery. This imbalance undermines trust and highlights the need for an equal access to legal advice to protect the community from poor decisions and ensure fairness, transparency and accountability. A dedicated legal fund for ratepayer groups is necessary to restore the balance, protect community health, well-being and the environment, and safeguard the interests of current and future generations. The motion is to correct the imbalance and to ensure that fairness is introduced in support of our councillors. After all, they represent for the ensuring the community who votes for them are shown respect and fairness. Providing a yearly budget will give access to legal services for ratepayer groups with help to achieve this. The very need for ratepayers to seek allocation of funds for legal advice and representation in the annual budget is an indication of how far the City is failing the community. I thank you, Madam Mayor.
Excuse me, that is a subjective comment about the City failing the community. We've just had the annual report. If you could withdraw that.
I shall withdraw that, and it's an indication of how far the community is being failed. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Kaycock. Do I have any speakers against this motion on notice? If I have no speakers against this motion on notice, we will cast our votes. Everyone in support of this motion on notice, please raise your blue docket. All those who are against this, please raise your pink docket. And that motion is carried, 17 and against with 9. We now go to item 4.4, proposed motion submitted by Ingrid Martin again. Ingrid, do you have a seconder? And what is your name, sir?
My name is Trevor Gunning.
Trevor Gunning. So the motion is to ensure that any waste management solutions developed in the Neerabup industrial area, the NRRP or the City of Wanneroo must be part of the circular economy. B, fully committed to its principles by not including a waste energy incinerator or similar. And C, to consult and engage with Toxic Free Australia on behalf of the ratepayers of the City of Wanneroo with a view to achieving a true circular economy solution. Ms Martin, would you like to come to the podium to speak to this, please?
Thank you. So again, my name is Ingrid Martin and I live in Carmel. Circular economy is based on 3 principles: to eliminate waste and pollution, circulate products and materials at their highest value, and regenerate nature. Underpinned by transition to renewable energy and materials, the circular economy is a resilient system that is good for business, people and the environment. The European Union, which relied on incineration for many years, is now moving away from it. Waste-to-energy incineration has been removed from the EE list of sustainable activities because it undermines the transition to a true circular economy. And that's a paper of the 1st of June 2023. European policy now recognises that incineration does not support the circularity of long-term environmental goals. Despite the evidence, the City of Wanneroo has consulted heavily with the waste management industry and included the incinerator in its master plan. Infrastructure such as waste transfer stations and battery storage facilities point to the introduction of an incinerator within the next 10 to 15 years through the NRRP. Or even sooner. The claim that incinerators provide energy clean energy is a myth. Depending on the waste burned, incineration releases between 250 and 600 kilograms of CO2 per ton of waste, comparable to burning coal. Its total emissions are also similar to those for landfilling. Incineration does not eliminate waste. Around 10% is toxic fly ash and bottom ash, classified as hazardous 5 in Western Australia, require disposal in specialist hazardous waste landfills. Waste-to-energy facilities also release pollutants, including heavy metals, dioxins and nitrogen oxide that contaminates air, soil and water and can travel up to 15 kilometres. Overseas studies have found dioxins and PFAS, known as forever chemicals, in soil, water, vegetation and food sources, posing serious risks to human health now and in the future. And that's a Dutch study that was done recently. The facilities also create noise, vibration and odours, particularly when located near residential or commercial areas. While the city may view waste-to-energy as a waste management solution or investment, it does not contribute to a genuine circular economy or to the well-being of our community. In my view, councils are not being presented with the latest independent evidence by the offices or consultants. The waste-to-energy industry is losing ground in Europe and the United States and actively targeting Australia as a new market. By adopting the true principles of the circular economy, we can use waste as the design stage, remove toxic chemicals from packaging and prioritise reuse, recycle and remanufacture. If the city is serious about the best options, it must move beyond incineration and consult those who are not driven by profit.
Thank you, Ms Martin. Mr Gunning, would you like to come and speak to this item as the seconder? Okay, do I have any speakers against this item? Councillor...
I don't want to speak against. Can we split it? So can we split 1, 2 and 3 so they can be voted on independently of each other, please?
No, I'm not. Yeah.
If we split it, Mr Gunning would not be able to second any more motions. He's already got 2 motions later on, and that would make this to 3 motions. It's up to the mover and seconder of this whether they are happy for it to be split and voted on with 3 votes, or keep it as one.
I just want to keep it as one because it's one motion at A, B and C.
Okay, thank you. So we will be keeping it as one motion. Do I have any speakers against this motion? If there are no speakers against this motion, could people with the blue tickets put their blue tickets up to support it? And if you could put those tickets down, everyone with the red tickets who are against this motion, please put your tickets up. Pink tickets. And the motion is carried 24 for and 1 against. We now go to item 4.5, submitted by Mr. Kayakov. Mr. Kayakov, do you have a seconder for your motion? Okay, Ms. Ingrid Martin is the seconder. It's a large motion. It's got 9 items of it. I do remind you, Mr. Kayakov, when you speak to this item, you only have 3 minutes. Would you like to take the podium and speak to this motion, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I have gone through and tried to adjust this according to your previous comments regarding names and referring to people. I wish to speak in respect to and in support of this motion. We have read the opening statements on the Employees' Code of Conduct, and we appreciate that the historic events surrounding this issue may not be known by all. We believe that the team has let people down, and we're now calling for action. We speak with evidence for all we say. We have most of the information. We have publicly available information. We have correspondences, we have comprehensive timelines, expertise and passion in all fields. We have our community, even though they're not here represented. We have other Australian communities pushing back, and the majority still have our health. We take the high moral ground and deny the social licence for any proponent for a waste-to-energy incinerator in Nirrumbuk or in the city of Wanneroo, in the past, present or future. It's no wonder there's no community consultation again when the Mindarie Regional Council, and we thank them for their efforts, forward a proposal for a resource recovery facility in Nirrumbuk. They included 4 options, 2 biological, that's composting, and 2 waste to energy, 1 gasification and 1 combustion. Now the MRC in 2003 not only conducted surveys, but consultation, and additionally commissioned a phone survey of 800 residents in the area, in the immediate area. The results were damning to the current NRRP. Quote, the survey showed the community did not support the development of a resource recovery facility using thermal technologies. 800 residents. As a result, the MRC responsibly withdrew the 2 by waste to energy incinerator options, respecting the community's expressed opinions, as no social licence would be achieved. Why now do you think we need an incinerator but refuse to consult with us? They've consulted with everybody else, not us. Not a social licence is granted or obtainable from your community here in Wanneroo. 2 incinerators are not operating in Kwinana and Rockingham, and Kwinana residents are complaining already. One of them might be operational, councillors, but it's not operating, as far as I'm aware to this date. Transport costs and emissions sending waste to Kwinana's heavy industrial area is an issue for the city. But then you're eyeing off the waste from Geraldton as well. So the emissions are still there, but worse. The city's use of Public Works Act and exemptions is not proper orderly planning, and the ratepayers do not pay rates to have our rights to be usurped by continually failing to consult with us or use our town planning scheme or policies or developing on our reserved lands. We will present additional facts and information to the community, and when appropriate and timely, we'll present it to yourselves as well.
Mr. Kayakov, you've had your 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Would your seconder like to come and speak to this item, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, councillors.
Conflict with the conflicts of interest, perceived, actual and financial, and should not be, conflicts with conflicts of interest, perceived, actual and financial, and should not be dealing with issue until after the requested investigation is completed. Madam Mayor, your past and present MRC delegates and signatories are conflict with conflicts of interest, perceived, actual, financial, and should not be dealing with the issue until after the requested investigation is complete. Finally, Hansard, 26 June 2001, second reading in State Parliament of the Tamala Park Land Transfer Bill 2001. Mr. John D'Orazio quoted, "I was a member of the State Planning Commission and the various proposals for the area around Tamala Park were always designed with the specific intention of protecting it as a landfill site, waste management these days. The Commission knew and that landfill, waste management were precious commodities and should be protected. The lot was originally purchased to protect the council's long-term ability to dispose of the rubbish of their communities. Various development options have been explored by the current owners. This was never envisaged when the land was purchased. There is no choice but to approve our requested investigation. We are the ratepayers, the assets are ours, the funds are ours, but we will not carry your debt nor the social issues you bring to our doors." The Nearbup is an advocacy project, April 2024. Minutes show that it was developed by officers compiling a long list of projects that refining the list through a workshop with managers and key officers. That's how the community consultation is conducted by the city, by locking council, you and me, out of the city's biggest projects ever. The Nearbup Advocacy Project was only added to the advocacy priorities on 23rd of April 2024 and approved on the 24th of November 2024. All in just 7 months. Unbelievable, not really, that the city started this around 2000. The report was presented with highlights the facts that the city's administration is already working on the road upgrades to Lot 600 Wattle Avenue for the NRRP and expanding funds listed in the long-term financial plan July 2024 on the NRRP prior to the Council's approval on the 10th of December 2024. It would also appear that the officers believe Council had made decisions in the forum on 5th of 3rd 24, but Council cannot and does not make decisions in a forum or a briefing session. Council only sits when convened and usually in this room. The community meeting held by community representatives attracted numbers more than the city attracted to their information night, and then decided that they needed another, but only invited the first attendees into the night. We have found where we have labelled as social and economically poor in Banksy Grove, Karma and Tapping. That's where they cite these incinerators worldwide.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. You've had three minutes. Thank you. Do I have any...
Can I do a point of order, Mayor, please?
Yes.
There was a comment Ms. Martin made at the start, which was insinuated towards myself, Councillor Bedworth, and the former MRC delegate, Councillor Miles, regarding our obligations of conflicts of interest, and I know all three of us are very well aware of that, and I would like to ask Ms. Martin to withdraw that, as it is incredibly offensive, and I do take my role as a councillor seriously.
Yes, are you able to withdraw that because those councillors were able to be identified, and that is against the standing orders? Thank you, Councillor Wright.
Yes, that's okay.
Thank you. Do I have any speakers against this motion on notice? Councillor Berry.
I've got a question. It's for administration. Can I do a point of clarification? Was the second meeting that Ms. Martin just referred to only open to the people who went to the first meeting that was run by the city, or was it open to everybody? I believed it was advertised on social media and open to everybody. Thank you.
Mr. Singh.
Thank you, Mayor. That second meeting was open to everybody.
Thank you. Do I have any speakers against this motion on notice? If there are no speakers against this motion on notice, we'll go to the vote. Those who are supporting of it, please raise your blue tags, please. Thank you. And those who are against the motion on notice, please raise your pink cards. Thank you. And so that motion on notice is carried, 17 for and 1 against. We now go to item 4.6, proposed motion submitted by Mr. Kayakob. Mr. Kayakob, do you have a seconder for that motion?
From the floor, Madam Mayor, if there's someone who wishes to second. Anna Weatherall.
Anna Weatherall, thank you. Mr. Kayakob, would you like to come and speak to that motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Oh, just a minute. The motion is that Council rescind its approval on the 16th of December 2025 CSO 7/12/25 Long-Term Financial Plan 26 to 2027 add to 2035-2036 until such time as the community has been thoroughly consulted and understands the implications hidden in this document. Could you go ahead now, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I've reduced this down to save a bit of time. Madam Mayor, I've called this motion because the contents of this decision that was made is horrific. For a ratepayer, it's horrific. 6% rate increase over the first 2 years, or over the first 5 years, I believe. That's a 30% increase and 45% over 10 years. Our waste fee is going up. The reserve balance for the waste in 20 years will be 52 million. Utility charges are going up. Increase to materials and contracts, we can't do anything about CPI. But a $30 waste fee on top of our rates, on top of the CPI increase as well, over a period of 2 years, I can't agree with it. And the large increase in the city's employees is just another cost. 1/3 of all the new housing that's to be built, we're going to have an extra staff member? Really? Do you know how many that is? That's incredible. I reckon there's 50,000 new homes to be built in the city over the 10 years. That works out at 16,666 new employees. I can't see that being a reality. In extra rates over the next 10 years, we'll be paying $353 million. Extra in the waste fee over 2 years, $10.5 million. The last long-term financial plan stated it may show an identified renewable funding gap. If this is the case and the gap remains in the longer term, the community will be impacted by one of the two likely scenarios. Infrastructure will begin to fail and this will impact on the economic prosperity of the community, and I spoke about this prior. The City of Wanneroo will experience periods of negative cash flow in order to fund maintenance activities to prolong infrastructure life. This will reduce the ability to fund existing and new services. As I said, I don't believe my services or assets in our areas are being maintained. No wonder there's no consultation. Balance the budget by removing officers' projects, land banking, advocacy projects and the interest bill. Attend to your maintenance, please. As ratepayers, the key stakeholders, we do not wish to carry your debt, nor the social issues or financial overspends that come our way. Please, have a think about our financial situation. Things are going hard. I also noticed that when we're talking in this, that in 20 years' time, according to the report, $1.33 billion in reserve accounts. That's an awful lot of money, councillors. Come on. I mean, you've got to appreciate as well, the cost of living is going up. Things are hard for a lot of families out there. In our area, we've got a report that labels us as socio-economically low. But here you are, you're going to hit us with a 6%.
Thank you, Mr. Kayakob. You've had 3 minutes. Ms. Weatherall, would you like to speak to this item, please, as the seconder?
That's from the maintenance in my area. Touchpads for the blind.
Okay, if the seconder doesn't wish to speak to this item, do I have any speakers against? If they have no speakers against, could you please put your blue slips up if you support this? And those against, please, put up your pink slip. And that is carried 21-0. Thank you. We now go to item 4.7, which is proposed motion submitted by Mrs. Rosemary Bruvels and seconded by Christine Hill. And the motion is that the City works with Cycling Without Age Perth to secure an appropriate site or sites to store Trishaw e-bikes within the next 4 months to ensure the continued delivery and growth of this valued community service. Ms. Bruvels, would you like to come to speak to this item? And would the seconder like to speak to this item? Are there any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against this item, those in support, could you please lift your blue cards, please? Those against, please raise your pink cards. And I'm pretty sure that proposed motion has been passed with 31 in support and 0 against. Now we go to item 4.8, which has been proposed by Mr. Martin Murphy and seconded by Raoul Grover, and that is that the electors of the City of Wanneroo request that Council instructs the City to 1. Modify the speed restrictions on Woodvale Drive from 50 to 40 kilometres per hour zone for the area bounded by the City of Wanneroo. 2. Take all necessary actions to ensure that Woodvale Drive is used for its intended and listed purpose as a local distributor road as defined by the WA Main Roads Hierarchy Chart to reduce traffic flow for the safety of all local residents, which would be a clear mechanism to dissuade rat running, misuse of through traffic and clearly identify Woodvale Drive as a local distributor road, not a distributor B road as it is currently being used as. 3. Update the outcome of PR 4571, 24th of October 24, Community Consultation Proposed Traffic Management Treatments, Woodvale Drive, Woodvale, commencement date. 4. Liaise with Main Roads WA to ensure the intersection at Wanneroo Road operates within safe limits and does not direct rat running through traffic onto Woodvale Drive, and implement traffic management plans that direct through traffic along Ocean Reef Road and Whitfords Avenue, both distributor B roads designed for higher traffic volumes, with particular attention to large vehicles and construction vehicles, noting the upcoming redevelopment under the East Wanneroo District Structure Plan. And 5, release any previous traffic safety reviews and reports for the area to the community and re-evaluate these reports to capture increased traffic volumes and expected future increases. Would the mover, Mr. Murphy, would you like to come and speak to this motion? Just remind you, you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Firstly, I'd just like to thank the City of Wanneroo for supporting residents in opposing the recent Woodvale Corner commercial development. So thank you very much. Thank you. Looking to modify the speed limit on Woodvale Drive down to 40 kilometres an hour. There's many things I could talk about, but I'll try and be quick. There have been many near misses. We live on Woodvale Drive, so we see this daily. We've had a pedestrian knocked down at the crossing of the footpath through Yellowgonga, which the city's just spent a lot of money on to encourage people to do so. In fact, it's one of my neighbour's daughters that got hit by 2 cars that were speeding down the road. We've had vehicle accidents on and on and on opposite the Lily Pond shop. We had a truck wedge itself onto another vehicle. It had to be pulled apart by tow trucks. So we had a car actually swerve to miss a car turning into the pawn shop that was speeding that came and hit our limestone wall. So we're actually seeing quite a lot of speeding, poor behaviour. My family, neighbours have been harassed by road rage of people wanting to go more than 50 kilometres an hour. They think it's 70 or 80 down there. This is school mums taking children to school even speeding. I've got a radar gun, so I've sort of measured a few of them from time to time. I'd just like to say that the City of Stirling and the City of Vincent have actually set a bit of a precedent by changing a lot of their roads to 40 kilometres an hour, again, to protect the residents, the local residents, the children, older people. Yes, I've asked if point 2 and point 4. On point 3 of PR 4571, I do believe that there has been some movement on that since I wrote this, or I've become aware of some movement, that funding has been approved by the state government, which I believe City of Wanneroo were waiting for in order to commence the traffic calming.
Just a minute, I'll just ask if Mr. Singh can confirm that or not.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We are waiting for black funding to be approved for 26-27.
Thank you. Proceed, Mr. Murphy.
Sorry,
I'm sorry for interrupting, but Mr. Singh is confirming what you just said. That was all.
Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I'd like the council to have a look at this. It is a local road. There are distributor B roads around the place, and we'd like, the traffic to be put down those and not down our local road. Just backing out of the driveway, you get harassed, and it's becoming a nightmare. We've been there for nearly 5 years, and it's definitely increased. The road, I think, was for 6,000 movements a day. I think at the moment it's about 9,500. So it does need looking at, and I'd love you to support at least reducing the speed limit. That may dissuade people from using the road as a rat run and give us a bit more safety in the neighbourhood. So thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Would Rael Grover like to speak to it as this item as a seconder? Thank you. Do I have any speakers against this motion? Councillor Fick?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not speaking against. I'm just wondering if the mover and seconder would be amenable to modifying point 1 to request that Main Roads modifies the speed restrictions, given that we can't make that decision directly.
Mr. Murphy?
Sorry, my understanding is that, and I'm a little bit confused, it's trying to actually find out who is responsible for this road. I'm told that local council, City of Wanneroo, are responsible for Woodvale Drive, Main Road's responsible for the Wanneroo Road, etc., etc. So there's an air of confusion. I'd love for somebody to straighten me out on that, if possible, but I don't know if it's a Main Roads issue.
Mr. Singh, could you please clarify this, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Woodvale Drive is a local road which is managed by the City of Wanneroo, and the western section is managed by the City of Joondalup, whereas all these speed limits are approved by Main Roads WA. We can only suggest, but they have the final authority and final say on the speed limits.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any speakers against this motion? If there are no speakers against this motion... Oh.
I know. Can I just clarify, Mr. Brewers, would you be changing that item 1 as suggested by Councillor Figg, that we request Main Roads to endorse the 40 km/h speed limit?
So what would happen is we would write to Main Roads and request that they modify it?
Yes, that's probably what I'd now say, understanding the...
Okay, so what we would do is something along the City of Wanneroo to write to Main Roads to request the modification of the speed on Woodvale Drive to go from 50 km/h to 40 km/h.
Possibly that it supports the residents in doing so.
Well, we will take care of that, yeah, because this is a resident's request. So the City of Wanneroo to write to Main Roads to request the decrease of the speed on Woodvale Drive from 50 kilometres an hour to 40 kilometres an hour for the area bounded by the City of Wanneroo. It doesn't look right here. Main roads request, they haven't changed it on the... Yes, I know, but they haven't changed it up here. They need to change it on the screen. We'll wait until it's changed on the screen so that we can all see what's being voted on. It's the City of Wanneroo, not the City of Joondalup.
Yes, that I have sent another one in to correct that, Madam Mayor. There's a bit of a backstory to how that happened. Other than to say I'm quite embarrassed about retyping it rather quickly.
So looking at the first sentence, it should perhaps be that the electors of the City of Wanneroo request that the Council instructs the City to write to the Main Roads Department to request the modification, and we can take out the City of Wanneroo from item 1 because we're repeating it there. Right should be singular, not plural, sorry. Seconder, happy with that?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I was only going to say that I'm in belief that the City of Joondalup would support that as well.
But they will have to vote from their annual electors meeting as well. Councillor Nguyen, you have a question? No, if we don't have a speaker against, then we will go to the vote. Do we have a speaker against this motion? Are you speaking against, are you, Councillor C?
Just to give the opportunity to Councillor Nguyen to speak for.
No, I ruled that out of order because you have to actually speak against it if you're going to speak against it. We can't do that. So if there are no speakers against this motion on notice, I ask that the voters please put their blue form up to support it if they support it. Thank you. And anyone against this recommendation or motion on notice? And yeah, there's 3 against. I declare that the motion is passed with 25 supporting it and 3 against. We now go to item 4.9, proposed motion submitted by Mrs. Rosalind Casey, seconded by Julie Baxter. And it is that Council formally abandons all current and proposed plans to redevelop Addison Park, Merriwa as senior sport public open space. 2, acknowledges that any senior sport proposal is consistent with the planning function of Addison Park as a neighbourhood park and with the recreational needs of local community it serves. 3, immediately commences preparation of a new master plan for Addison Park based on genuine community engagement and compliant with neighbourhood park planning principles, and 4, applies the $850,000 currently held in reserve exclusively to improvements identified through that master planning process. Ms. Casey, would you like to come and take this podium and speak to this? Thank you. Is Ms. Baxter here?
No, unfortunately, Mrs. Baxter is sick, so she's not able to attend.
Do you have another seconder for this item? Okay, so Anna Weatherall is the seconder. Thank you. Ms. Casey, if you'd like to take the podium.
This motion simply requires council to prevent an incompatible planning outcome for a local neighbourhood park and to use the money already set aside to deliver via community engagement in the development of a new master plan, a park on par with other city parks, a park that is universally accessible and reflects a unique sense of place. Addison Park is a neighbourhood park developed 30 years ago. It exists to serve the recreational needs of Merriwa residents and those of co-located Merriwa Primary School and Special Education Centre. Despite the local demographics and research indicating no future need for a change of function from recreation to sport, City administration has relentlessly pursued redevelopment of Addison Park as a full-size AFL oval with supporting infrastructure for the use of sports clubs from outside the catchment area. In 2018, a contract was awarded without any community consultation to clear remnant bushland, grass trees and canopy trees, and a number of items of popular exercise equipment. Following community outcry, the project was put on hold pending community consultation. No community consultation has ever occurred, and $850,000 allocated for improvements to the park has remained unspent in reserve. In 2022, a consultant was engaged at a cost to ratepayers in excess of $16,000 to produce a revised draft master plan, again for redevelopment as a neighbourhood sports public open space. Despite administration having had the plan for over 3 years, it is still under consideration and has not yet been formally presented to council. Under an FOI request, a copy of the draft plan was released showing an estimated project cost in excess of $4.5 million for a sport facility neither wanted nor needed by the local community. In the intervening period, the park's recreational amenities were allowed to decline. It took a 333 signature petition for administration to provide long overdue standard recreational furniture. Merriwa's only other neighbourhood park, Dalvik Park, has already been redeveloped as neighbourhood sport open space. In order to comply with state guidelines for the fair and equitable provision of public open space, council must support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Weatherall, would you like to speak to this item? Are there any speakers against this motion? Yes, Councillor Berry.
Thank you. Can administration confirm that Merriwa Primary School use Addison Park Oval for their sports, and that's why we've helped develop Addison Park for them as well, please?
Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Councillor. I'd need to take that on notice. I don't have the bookings data or information available to me in front of me.
Thank you. Are there any speakers against this motion? If there are no speakers against this motion, I ask that those supporting it put their blue bits of paper up. Those who are against this motion, please put your voting cards up. And that motion is passed with 21 supporting it and 0 against. We now go to item 410, proposed motion submitted by Trevor Gunning. Mr Gunning, do you have a seconder for your motion?
I believe so. If I've got one left, Madam Mayor.
Mr Kayakob is the seconder.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So this motion is that Council undertake a review and compile a report into all aspects, whether directly or indirectly associated with the City of Wanneroo's requirements to comply with their due diligence and code of conduct and advocacy plan obligations as prescribed by the City of Wanneroo management controls. 2, provide a summary of measurable and relevant outcomes and key performance indicators related to the NRRP master plan project identified as TW24028. 3, provide a copy of the business plan for the major land transaction and major trading stage 1 undertakings. 4, demonstrate which governance compliances have been met pertaining to the NRRP on A, land ownership, B, approval processes and subsequent approvals, C, funding arrangements, D, design plans, E, construction plans, F, operational plans, and G, waste supply quantities and sources. 5, provide evidence of support for funding arrangements, including federal and state funding grants, and how the funds are used specifically to locate and develop waste and energy generating industries within WA. 6, provide evidence of the contract relating to the operation under the management agreement and recycling process contract. 7, provide evidence relating to and relationship with the City of Wanneroo's A, strategic community plan, B, corporate business plan, C, City of Wanneroo's long-term financial plan, and D, sustainability advocacy plan. 8, demonstrate how the NRRP plan will meet the City of Wanneroo advocacy plan 2023 to 2032, including how it intends to meet sustainability objectives, B, productivity objectives, and C, livability and wellbeing objectives. Would the mover like to speak to this item?
Yes, please.
Mr Gunning, just take the podium. And I just remind you that you have 3 minutes.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Am I on there? Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk. Look, you'll note by the number of points that I've raised there that I believe will be incoming or back to me. But I thought I'd just spend a moment just giving you some background. I'm a former armed services member. I served 10 years with the Special Air Service Regiment, and I served in Vietnam and New Guinea. I'm also a former senior firefighter with the West Australian Fire Brigade Board, and I've spent over 30 years in the occupational health and safety industry around the world. I've operated on large projects such as Chevron's projects, Woodside's project. So a lot of the questions I'm asking is because I'm also a licensed auditor with Det Norsk Veritas. And I note in this report you make a reference to the guiding principles of a number of international standards, but I don't think you've got a license for them. So I'm perplexed because I've spent about 30 plus hours reading those documents to try and find out what the heck is going on. And quite frankly, I'm very concerned. I've lived in Carramar for over 30 years. I've seen the developments in the community, and one thing I'll say thank you for, I've suddenly got an influx of black cockatoos, silver-crested cockatoos, magpies, the whole 9 yards, because of the lack of stewardship that was shown by the City of Wanneroo in maintaining the land which they are intending to build this Nearbuck resource recycling precinct. I mean, it just goes on. I am perplexed about what is proposed. And as I've spoken to certain people here, if my livelihood, my health is impacted upon, I will seek redress. And there are a number of people that will follow me up and I think you will find there's going to be a fight over this. I'll leave it with you to provide me the report. I will certainly come back to you, but thus far I'm confused about whether decision-making is occurring on this. What is the power of these committees? What is the people that serve on these committees, including officers which would come under the heading of being an employee of the Wanneroo, where is their training? How do they understand the legal implications of contracts, contract law, and also some of these deals that are being done through the Mindarie Regional Council?
Excuse me, I object to the word deals, and we are not the Mindarie. We are not the Mindarie Regional Council. This is the City of Wanneroo, and we are not doing deals. And I make that very, very clear. So please retract that. Thank you. Thank you.
But you are actually involved. You have a 16.7% interest in Mindarie Regional Council.
We are not doing deals. Thank you.
I've already mentioned that I would withdraw that word.
Mr Gunning, you've had 3 minutes. Would Mr Kayakob like to speak to this motion? Thank you.
No, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think Mr Gunning has taken care of it.
Thank you. Do we have any speakers against this motion? If there are no speakers against this motion, please, electors, cast your vote by raising your blue. And if you could lower those, please raise your red ones if you're against this motion, or your pink ones. And that motion is passed with 21 for and 0 against. We now go to item 411, a second proposed motion by Mr Gunning. Do you have a seconder for your proposed motion? Ingrid Martin, thank you. Mr Gunning, this motion is 1, detail what organisation or entity, e.g. Mindarie Regional Council, Wanneroo Council, Federal Government, State Government, Auditor General or WALGA entities, et.al., etc., which are also committed or obliged to the financials accounting plan. 2, what portion of contribution were committed to by any or all of the above mentioned entities, e.g. and which by and which entity. 3, outline if the funding arrangements associated with TW 24028, 24208 Wanneroo Neerabup Recreation Master Plan 2.3 are subject to or benefiting from federal and state WA state government grants. 4, give evidence of which COW management systems are included and will ensure compliance and governance to meet the plan's objectives. 5, detail which financial provisions are included and associated or related to the contractual obligations associated with the TW 24028-24208 plan. It will include the provisions related to A, land ownership and title costs and ownership, B, investment in associated ownerships relating to the NRRP, C, insurance costs, D, legal costs, E, operation and construction planning costs, F, scopes of work and costs, G, contract obligations and associated costs, H, HR costs in support of plan implementation, and I, OHS and E, management cost and contingencies. Mr Gunning, would you like to speak to this motion?
I'm not sure about the brevity of what's gone on here, because the motion I actually submitted said, I request the CEO and Mayor of the City of Wanneroo provide a copy of the financial, accounting and budget plan for the COW documents relating to the TW, etc. And I request the plan detail an outline of what due diligence. So it's markedly different from what I proposed.
That's what I've got in front of me as item 411.
Someone's not reading the submissions.
Could you clarify that, please? Pardon? Thank you.
I have a copy of what I submitted here, if it helps.
Mr Gunning, could you please read out what you intended to move? We will need to put it so that everyone can see it and see if Ms Martin is still prepared to second what you intended to move.
Sure. I said the notice of motion is, I request the CEO and the Mayor of the City of Wanneroo provide a copy of the financial accounting and budget plan for the COW documents relating to TW 24028-24208 Wanneroo Neerabup Resource Recycling Precinct Master Plan 2.3. I request the plan shall include a detailed outline of what due diligence, governance, compliance was undertaken and complied with relevant to this plan. The rest is the detail.
Thank you. Are you able to give that to...
Sure.
You've found it?
Oh, do you want me to wait until he does that? Okay.
So I've actually read your statement that was underneath it, but the actual motion is, and I do need to know if Ms Martin is prepared to second this, is I request the CEO and Mayor of the City of Wanneroo provide a copy of that, the final financial accounting and budget plan for the City of Wanneroo documents relating to TW 24028-24208 Wanneroo Neerabup RRP Master Plan 2.3, and request that the plan shall include a detailed outline of what due diligence, governance compliance was undertaken and complied with relevant to this plan. Would you like to speak to this, Mr Gunning?
Sure.
Thank
you very much for the opportunity. Look, to go to the main concerns I have got is that when I started reading the documents relating to the Resource Recovery Precinct, I noted in the spreadsheet for potential costings that the Wanneroo Council was going to be responsible for approximately $28 million of the cost. $1.2 billion overall, but the rest was going to be funded by a private or an entity yet to be determined. And I noted also that when I was reading some of the documentation regarding Mindarie Regional Council, there's a meeting there that makes reference to particular contractors that may be engaged to provide the services. And I'm perplexed because I'm concerned that we'll end up building an entity down there that will be operated by external providers. And I don't know how you're going to verify what their standard operating practices are going to be. I mean, are you going to audit them? Is that going to be a contract that's leased out, put out there for tender against? I'm concerned. Finally, I just cannot understand why there are so many documents and I can't seem to get into your management system to verify who is leading, guiding the people making the decisions. Who is it? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms Martin, would you like to speak to this item?
No, I think Mr. Gunning has put it very well.
Thank you. Are there any speakers against this item?
Can I second Trevor?
No, Ms Martin has seconded it. Do I have any speakers against this item? If there are no speakers against this item, those who support this motion on notice, please cast your vote.
All said,
And anyone against the motion, please cast your vote. And the motion is supported by those in the room with 26 for and 0 against. We now go to item 4.12, proposed motion by Susan Dungate, seconded by Michael Dungate, and it's for the council to consider installing some RV dump points accessible to the public. Ms Dungate, would you like to speak to this item? Are you in the, Mr and Mrs Dungate in here? If they're not in here, this motion will lapse. I declare the motion is lapsed. Oh, Mr Healy's here. So we now have item 4.13, a proposed motion submitted by Mr Healy, moved by Mr Gerard Healy, seconded by Mr Patrick Healy, and the motion is that in the context of his 2026 to 2027 business plan, the City adopts a comprehensive strategy to ensure the ongoing accessibility to footpath infrastructure. Mr Healy, would you like to speak to this item? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier this year, Mayor Aitken was good enough to meet me in respect to the very important subject of the accessibility of footpath infrastructure. It is my assertion that on any given day there are dozens of impediments to the safe passage of pedestrians on city footpaths, with a range of causes from inconsiderate motorists to overgrown foliage. I thank the Mayor for hearing me on this topic, and I'm keen to ensure that the City develops and implements a strategy to deal with same, particularly in light of the trend for the scope of such infrastructure being widened beyond the original concept of providing safe passage for pedestrians in a roadway. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Healy. Would Patrick Healy like to speak to this item? Thank you. Are there anyone to speak against this motion? If there's no one to speak against this motion, I ask that you raise your blue cards if you support it. Thank you. Okay, please lower your cards. Anyone against the motion? I'm pretty certain it's carried. That's carried with the support of 34 and 0 against. We now go to the last motion of the evening, moved by Michelle Kwok. Michelle, do you have a seconder for your motion? Anna Weatherall? And the motion is that the electors of the City of Wanneroo request Council to compile a report on how the City of Wanneroo may positively influence the 7-member councils of the Tamala Park Mindarie Regional Council to enable this regional council to become more open, transparent, considerate to the local landfill odour afflicted communities who through no fault of their own are living in close proximity to the landfill well inside the usual 1 kilometre landfill to housing exclusion zone. 1, this report is to be mindful of the intentions of the new Office of the Local Government Inspectorate Reforms, also applicable to regional governments, which aims to improve accountability and transparency in the West Australian local government sector. And 2, the City of Wanneroo report to highlight the heightened community concerns in respect to the operation of Tamala Park landfill and request the Mindarie Regional Council to investigate all options to expedite the closure of the Tamala Park landfill in a timely and orderly manner. Ms Kwok, would you like to speak to this item? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is Michelle Kwok Sharif. I've been an elector in City of Wanneroo for 24 years. The Mindarie Regional Council exists in a specialised field of waste management and serves 7 local governments who are participants in one of the biggest waste management operations in Western Australia, set up in 1991 and old now in landfill terms. It offers economies of scale across all components of the landfill operation to all participating local governments. Operating as a regional council confers other, less obvious advantages to the 7-member councils because regional councils are not required to hold elections for the electors of a district because they are not a local government and have no electors. Electors cannot request a special meeting of council to examine any issues. Mindarie Regional Council's role is to focus on the participating council's needs. For example, at the November council meeting in 2025, the elected members voted to replace the rotating council meeting venue system, choosing instead the City of Stirling Civic Centre and refused to support an alternate motion to have the Mindarie Regional Council meetings at either Wanneroo or Joondalup to facilitate the older afflicted residents' attendance at Mindarie Regional Council meetings. A second motion pushed the meeting start time down to 6 p.m., further lessening the chance of older afflicted residents' attendance. These 2 motions were put up after the meeting commenced, contrary to the Mindarie Regional meeting local laws, which require prior notification to the CEO for the item to be included in the meeting agenda. The community member present could not talk against the motions or support the alternate. This is just one indicator of the Mindarie Regional Council failure to the local communities. Wanneroo may enable it become more open, transparent, considerate to the local landfill older afflicted communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Kwok. Would Anna Weatherall like to speak to this item? Thank you. Do I have any speakers against this item? If I have no speakers against this item, could you please cast your vote? Please raise your blue tickets if you're in support. Okay, please lower your tickets, and anyone against this motion, please raise your pink ticket. And that motion on notice is supported, 28-4-0 against. We now go to item 5, closure. Thank you all for your attendance at tonight's annual Electors General Meeting. The minutes of this meeting will be available for inspection for members of the public as soon as possible and published on the City's website. As far as practical, all decisions made at this Electors meeting will be considered at the ordinary council meeting on the 24th of March 2026. The agenda of all council meetings are published on the City's website. The council will consider any motion that has been carried at this Electors meeting, and the reasons for any decision that the council makes on those motions will be recorded in the minutes. I now declare this meeting closed at 7:42 p.m. Thank you everyone for your attendance.